In Plaquemines Parish, the views can certainly be breathtaking, but there's also a risk, one Jill Bomey knows about firsthand.
I've been hit by Hurricane Katrina, flooded, lost everything in my home, and then I rebuilt. Got hit by Hurricane Isaac, lost everything.
Plaquemines, where Bomey has lived for nearly 40 years, is one of 6 parishes included in a state report that divides the areas into low, moderate, and high-risk zones.
So what this means is people really are beginning to look at the risk, beginning to understand it, so that people can participate, make informed choices going forward.
The blueprint also details steps to move people away from these areas to higher ground in Jefferson, St. Tammany, St. John, and upper regions in Plaquemines, Lafourche, and Terrebonne parishes. The report was built around public input from people living in these areas.
I think the result was almost 3,000 people across those 6 parishes getting involved and coming out to public meetings.
The nearly 1,500-page report also details ways for these communities to prepare for more people.
It was one of the things that we're learning along the way here is you not only have to think about how to help people leave, you have to figure out where they're going to go, and are communities ready to receive them.
Bomey has trouble thinking about having to leave the place she's called home for so long.
And I feel like I'd like to stay here and not be bought out. I wouldn't have went through all my troubles twice to rebuild. I would like to see them do more to protect us from storm surge and hurricanes and stuff instead of getting rid of everybody.
Cochran says it's a balance of both improving flood-prone areas, but also preparing for what could be coming down the line. Paul Dudley, Eyewitness News.
The report is not a mandate for anyone. It was funded by the federal government and produced by Louisiana's Office of Community Development.